Hi Instagrammers, hi YouTubers, hi Facebookers, how are you? Well, I'm back with another video and I hope you're well and I hope you're so far the year has gotten off and it's all right for you so far. Fingers crossed for that it stays like this. So woke, what does it mean to me? You might notice this little strand of light is coming down like this. I don't know why that's there like that, but it's nothing angelic. It's just, and so you've got that light in my face because for some reason at this angle that I've put the camera at, I've got the light is literally here. So it's shining this beam down. So please, I do apologise. So woke, what does it mean? Well, we could go into a long discussion that'll take longer than the 15 minutes I like to keep these YouTube and Facebook and Instagram videos to. So I'm going to try and explain it from my point of view. So I'm not going to go into all the stuff about the culture wars and stuff like that. I might mention a little bit of it, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because, as I say, there's a lot to unpack. And there are people out there who have done longer videos than I've done on this subject, and they're much better than this is going to be probably. So this is just my opinion of woke and what it kind of means and how it's used to divide the left. So what does woke basically mean? Well, it basically means that you're aware of what's going on around you and you're aware to issues like racism, like Islamophobia, like transphobia, like homophobia, biphobia, stuff like that. You are aware to the cultural aspects around you. You're aware of issues like colonialism. You are aware of issues that seek to be progressive, that seek to further and better humanity, and it just means you're alive to what's going on around you. You are aware, you are woke. But that's not how the right uses it. The right uses it as a tool to bash the left with, and anybody who considers themselves to be alive at the moment and aware. So they use it to bash the right with. It's all they've got. The right wing in politics, especially in the UK and America, don't have a lot to say on things like economic policy, progressive constitutional policy, or voting rights and stuff like that. They don't have a lot to say. They can't organise anything around it. They are denuded of new progressive fundamental ideas around the way politics works and how it affects average people in day-to-day society. They have no answer for it. So all the right has is woke politics and the culture wars, and critical race theory, as it showed in America. You can wind up your base to such a degree that you get them going off their heads about such spurious ideas surrounding these issues that all culminates into an overarching argument against the left. I don't know if it was purposely started by the right, because the argument about culture wars comes from a book printed some time ago, back in the 80s, I believe, and it was brought up at the Republican conference during the end of their primaries for the presidential election that led to Bill Clinton, I believe. No. Was it the second term he was president? It might have been the second term he was president. I think it was Pat Buchanan who said it, and he brought up the issue of the culture wars. And since then, it's been bubbling under the surface, but not really loud. And now it's exploded out since the right have been denuded of any policies they have to enfranchise ordinary people, ordinary working people, ordinary people on benefits, ordinary people trying to raise a family. So all they have is the culture wars and wokeism, and they use it to bash the left. But they are very clever at also using it to subdivide the left amongst itself. So the reason why I did this video was not to just be on about what I thought about wokeism and stuff like that. It was to put out a warning to people who watch my videos who might be left-leaning. Be careful of what you hear in left-wing politics. The woke argument has now divided the left amongst itself, amongst politicians, people on the left, YouTubers, not necessarily people in BreadTube. I will separate people who are associated with BreadTube from the... I'm talking about your Carl Kalinskis, your Jimmy Dores, your Grey Zone, people like that, who a lot of people would say are sort of like tanky Stalinists, support dictatorships abroad whilst stumbling over the bodies of the people those dictatorships kill to chuck stones at your democratically elected governments. They moan about things like identity politics. They say that we shouldn't focus on trans rights issues or LGBTQ issues or get down dirty in the dirt over race issues or secular religious issues. We should just concentrate on class politics and just deal with that. And we should ignore everything else in identity politics and woke culture because it's used by the right to divide us. So half the left has already bought the argument that woke is a load of rubbish. The right has used it so successfully against the left that even the left's people, the people who speak on behalf of whatever we consider to be the left demographic in politics in the Western Hemisphere, they've divided it up. You've got your BreadTubers who are all for identity politics and intersectionality and woke culture and culture wars and stuff like that. And then you've got your Carl Kalinskis and your Jimmy Dores and people like that who are like, no, we shouldn't concentrate on that. It's used to divide us. We should be rallying around class struggles and the policy agendas and stuff like that and ignore all the LGBT race sort of stuff. Well, the right are winning, aren't they? If they can effectively divide the left, I'm sweating one out here because that light is really hard. If they can effectively divide the left, what hope is there for us? I mean, this video is more me pleading with aspects of the left to acknowledge that identity politics are fundamentally core to the class struggle. If you can understand classes within a class and how they identify and what is important to them and what aspects of society affect them, you can rally around that to include everybody in it. So the examples I've used, and Sean Faze Book has tried to point out that if you fundamentally gave trans women and trans men and non-binary folk the basic human rights of fair, at the point of delivery, easy, accessible, free universal healthcare, whether that be in America where they don't have it, or in Britain where we have it, but the waiting lists are tremendous, and the healthcare for trans people is just appalling. You have to wait so long for anything, and it's a lot of gatekeeping. So if you included those two aspects, and you gave it to people, you put a policy around it to give the trans community the healthcare that they need and they deserve, regardless of race, creed, colour, religion, all the rest of it, then that falls into place that everybody in society would get that healthcare. If this one group of people is getting this healthcare, then everybody should be able to access that level of healthcare. If you understand the differences that also are similarities between people within the class structure, you can understand their politics, where they're coming from, engage with them and explain how it reflects into other people, into other classes, into other religions, into other races. So the left has got to stop arguing amongst itself about the woke council culture bullshit that they keep going on about, because those on the left that embrace those aspects of the class struggle, I think, have a better understanding of where they're coming from and their politics, whereas people on the left who ignore that only concentrate on their aspects of politics and ignore everybody else. So we're seeing this now, especially with people like Jimmy Dore, we're seeing this, it's almost like an anti-trans narrative that's building up. You see it in some of the videos he's done recently, and some of the stuff the Grey Zone had to then reprint because the article came across as very transphobic in one of their original articles that they put out about a month or so ago about BreadTube. But you've got them sectioning off, trying to grab the right-wing people into their fold, and they're ignoring everything else, and they're using woke to bash the rest of the left with. So if you're a YouTuber and you watch a lot of content, you watch a lot of stuff from America as well, you will see how the left is deeply divided in America amongst itself. I don't see that division so much in the UK. We have a plethora of left-wing parties, but they're all starting to say the same thing. It's the mainstream parties, the parliamentary parties, that try to distance themselves from woke and council culture and stuff like that. Whereas the Tories play on it, like I've already said, and they use it as a weapon to bash the left with and use the left to divide it amongst itself. So, that... I know it's rambling. I wanted to get this video out, I wanted to get this video out because I really wanted to try and put this down. The thing that bothers me about the whole debate about woke is the misappropriation of the word and the way the word is used to then subdivide the left amongst itself. And how the left, divided amongst itself, believes that we should talk about just the class struggle. Workers' rights, just the class struggle, ignoring the subgroups that are in that class struggle that have interlocking interests, which if one group benefited for them and you fought for their rights, then everybody off the back of that would come. That's why we say trans rights are human rights. If trans people had all the human rights that you would expect of a person in a democratic society, all the rights you could expect for a person in a democratic society, that would then follow that all Muslims, all people of colour, all religions, all gender variants would be accepted in society and would get the benefits of that society. So watch this woke argument. It is used by the right to bash us with and subdivide us amongst ourselves. And that's what bothers me about this subject. It subdivides us amongst ourselves within the left, and we start arguing with each other. And if anybody knows anything about left-wing politics, it's that for some reason the left, only at certain opportunist moments in history, but on the whole, has never really been able to unite together because of the attacks from the right, because the right, the capitalist class, is dominated by big business and the media. So even now, where the left has a voice, its YouTubers are fighting amongst themselves over the issue of identity politics and woke culture, and it's dividing us. And it's turning people who we thought were progressives that we'd followed for the last half a decade, and now they're turning into people who you could think, are you a transphobe? Is that what you're getting at? You're not saying it, but are you? So yeah, it's my take on woke culture and the way it's used to bash us over the head with and subdivide us and make us row amongst themselves. I hope you don't find this video too rambling, and I hope if you stayed to this long you will give me a like, share and a subscribe. You will follow me on Instagram if you're watching this on Instagram, or you will follow me on Facebook, or you will subscribe to my channel on YouTube. So until my next video, which may come soon because I'm going to a meeting tomorrow and I may talk about it on my show depending on how the meeting goes, but I will look forward to seeing you soon. So goodbye everybody.